Hi everybody, it's Matt here, your local friendly neighbourhood vestibular migraine sufferer. So firstly, an apology from me. I know it's been another lengthy spell without a new video. Unfortunately, my mum's been very seriously ill. She's been in hospital for months. And so obviously a lot of my time and energy has been devoted to her and my family, while also trying to balance working to earn a crust. So I've not had an awful lot of time to do any videos, and to be honest, I haven't really felt like doing them, when you're under stress and emotional, both emotional and physical and psychological stress when a loved one is ill. So that's where I've been for the last couple of months, and hence why I've not done a video. But enough about me. As you've come here to learn about vestibular disorder, vestibular migraine, and symptoms, cures, treatments, etc. So what am I going to talk about today? So I'm going to talk about something that I've been wanting to talk about for ages, to be honest, and then totally forgot what the name was. And then I've only just researched it lately. And it's something that I did when I was really poorly with vestibular migraine stroke disorder. And it's something called optokinetic training. So optokinetic sounds really intelligent, doesn't it? It sounds like either something from Transformers or something from the James Webb Telescope out in space. But what it essentially means in its very basic form is visual stimulus. So stimulation visually by the environment around you or something you're looking at. And could go really rude there, couldn't I? But we'll leave it at that. So why does this have any interest or relevance for people with vestibular disorder? So this is the relatable bit, I think, for a lot of people who are watching this video. I think one of the most common symptoms you get, and I got with vestibular disorder stroke migraine, is that you are very susceptible to an overload, visual overload, overstimulation. And now in previous videos, I've argued that probably comes from when your vestibular system or your central nervous system is not working properly. Just normal things like movement around you, motion, light, etc., they all become too much for you. You get overloaded, and then your brain starts to trip out, and that's why we get what I call derealization, and I think in the States they call that depersonalization. So I think that is the brain's response trying to trip out and stop the overload from happening, hence why you then feel that funny derealization sensation. So as I said, the visual overload comes from motion. It can be light, it can be a combination of those things, it can be busy crowds. So that's why often vestibular sufferers hate, for example, supermarkets, big crowds, places where there's lots of light and reflective light and rows of whatever it may be, shopping, groceries, as you may call them in the States. So that's what I think is happening there. Now, coming back to the subject matter, optokinetic and optokinetic training, that is something that vestibular sufferers can do and undergo to try and improve the symptom of being visually overstimulated. So there's a number of ways in which I tried to deal with that, and the best one I found was FL41 lenses being put into glasses if you're a glasses wearer, or into sunglasses if you're a sunglasses wearer, or just wearing sunglasses. So I would use those things in busy environments, and to be honest, even to this day, I leave my sunglasses on when I go into supermarkets. I did the other day, and I kind of like the idea that maybe, just maybe for a split second, someone might think I'm a rock star, rather than a dickhead, which is probably what most people are thinking. So that's one way of dealing with it, or certainly helping mitigate it a little bit. But then the other way was this optokinetic training. So essentially, optokinetic training is basically exposing yourself to environments that are visually stimulating, and also audio as well, stimulating to the ear as well, so both the vision and the hearing. And you can do that, for example, by going into those places actually for real, but that could cause you to feel quite poorly, and not it's not a very nice experience. So unfortunately, I should say fortunately, not unfortunately, a couple of really helpful YouTubers have uploaded some optokinetic videos for sufferers of vestibular disorder to try and have a go at, and I was one of those people that did. And I think she's called Gabrielle, who's loaded up a load of them. So on behalf of vestibular disorder community, Gabrielle, if you watch this video, thank you so much for uploading those videos. You don't know how much help you've given to people over the years. Well, maybe you do, but if you don't, you have. But so that she's loaded up a load of those videos, and they're basically recordings of busy environments, busy and noisy environments. So she's got the supermarket or the strip mall, as you call it in the States. She's got a big crowd, so it looks like a big kind of conference centre. She's also got one that is a really kind of horrible coloured room that is just really awful to look at. So I'm going to obviously intersperse, as you can see, I'm interspersing this video with some clips from some of Gabrielle's videos that you can see there. So the other kind of video you can do is not necessarily looking at a stimulating environment, but it's actually looking at stripy kind of patterns and then following a little ball, as you can see on screen now. And I did do a bit of those, but I wasn't ever told to by my vestibular physio. So my vestibular physio recommended the Optokinetic Training. So looking at the busy environments. She never actually recommended looking at the black and white stuff, but I did it anyway, because when you're wanting to get better, you just do things, don't you? So obviously I'm not a vestibular physio or a vestibular expert, so do check in with your experts that you're seeing before you perhaps embark on this, and don't do what I did where I just kind of got on with it anyway. I wouldn't ever recommend doing that. But so when I started to do this with my vestibular physio, the Optokinetic videos that were in busy environments, so like the strip mall, supermarket, so she wanted me to gradually do it, so gradually build up to looking at the whole of that video. So what we would do is I would look at it for 30 seconds, press pause, and then have a rest for 30 seconds, then another 30 seconds, same again, after another 30 seconds, press pause, have a rest for 30 seconds. So if it was a 4-minute video, you'd do it in kind of 4 segments. You wouldn't just do it all at once, because particularly if you're still quite unwell, it's too much stimulation at once, I think, to do that whole video for its full segment. But you do gradually build up to that. So then when you've done it, I can't remember how, I think it was like a week of doing it that way, then I'd start to increase the length of time that I was looking at the video before I had a rest. And then also I'd start to then look at some different videos as well. So may have gone from the supermarket to the crowded conference room or whatever it was. So that's how she recommended doing it. So don't just jump straight in and do the whole video, because you might make yourself badly and make yourself feel worse. But her advice was to do it gradually. But as I said, please do consult with their vestibular physio or a GP or the ENT, whoever it is that you're treating you. And then, as I said, I then also start looking at the black and white ones with the fuzzy stripes on it, and Newcastle United stripes. But she never actually recommended to do that for me. So one piece of advice she did give my vestibular physio was that this kind of thing tends to be more useful if you're a vestibular migraine sufferer once you've started to kind of get on top of it a little bit. So if you're still in the situation where your migraine or whatever it is, the mysterious migraine, is still firing, is still triggering, then this kind of stuff, optokinetic training and the vestibular physio, doesn't seem to quite work as well. It tends to work a bit better either if you've had vestibular illness like labyrinthitis and you're trying to get that muscle memory back, I forget what you call it now off the top of my head, or if you're actually starting to get on top of the vestibular migraine, then it's an additional treatment then you can throw in to then take you to the level where you're feeling 100% again. So in getting on top of the migraine, I was always told by my vestibular physio, and it's something I believe in because it worked for me, is finding that right combination of meds to just bring that firing of the migraine, that firing of the condition, whatever it is, that mystical condition, to bring that under control. Then when you're starting to get that control, you then move in with those extra little bits, so the optokinetic training plus the vestibular physio. So that's how I was advised to do it, and I would therefore advise you to do it that way. But some of you probably will just take a look at those videos anyway. It's free will, isn't it? I can't stop you. I can only recommend, and I can only remind you that I am not a vestibular expert, and you should consult with experts. So I thought you'd find that interesting. I'll put some links to Gabrielle's videos below. I'll also put the usual link in to the FL41 lenses. So in the UK, it's Mike Dixon at UK Sports Eyewear. In the US, there's a good company called Axon Optics who produce those glasses for you. Mike as well in the UK, if you send him, say for example, a pair of glasses you've got where the prescription's out of date and they're really cool, like me designer lenses, or designer frames, send him those and he can replace them with FR41 lenses. So do that, because I honestly thought those were really, really helpful and useful for this visual stimulation and also dealing with the photophobia. So hopefully that's useful to you. A bit of optokinetic training there. I obviously always tell you at the end of the video, I always have other videos planned, which I do. It's just, as I said, I've had a difficult time lately, so I've not been able to fit as many in as I normally would like to. Probably in my next video might be a bit more of an update about how I'm feeling and how I'm doing. Plus, I've got kind of an ultra stressful period to refer to in terms of how did my vestibular symptoms hold up during what has been a ridiculously stressful period. So that might be quite a useful video to throw out there. So hope you find that useful. I hope if you're suffering, you're starting to find solutions. I hope if you haven't had a diagnosis, you get one soon. As I always say, getting the diagnosis is the most important stage, because that is then when you can start finding the right treatments. And I hope if you're going through that really, really awful chronic phase, or that horrible first phase where you don't know what's going on, I hope if you found this video, it'll start to give you some answers. Do go back through my back catalogue and look at some of the other videos, and you might find those quite enlightening, and also find that there is a massive cause for hope, because I got better. I know other people have got better. You can get better. So remember, as you were, you'll be again. See you all soon, folks.